I'm Kartik. I'm lead game developer, lead game designer at Finite Reflection Studios. As of March of this year, the first full-time employee of Finite Reflection Studios. And yeah, this is our game, The Gardener and the Wild Vines. This started as an entry to the GMTK Jam of 2020, which is a yearly game jam that Mark Brown of the Game Maker's Toolkit YouTube channel always puts up, and is always a great time. When we competed last year, we submitted this a very, very early, very rough prototype of this game for that jam, and have been working on it more or less ever since. So it's been just over a year that we've been working on this, and it is going to be launching very soon on September 9th on Steam and itch for Mac and PC. Yeah, we're going to jump right into it. So this is the main menu. I really wanted to go for this storybook, fairy tale-esque aesthetic for the game. And we might as well just open up a new save slot. Why not? So the primary mode of the game is a narrative mode, a story mode, if you will, where you play through a story that is told across various towers that have mysteriously appeared across the kingdom. So here we are at the first tower. You can see we're in the grasslands. You can walk around freely on this magical map that has appeared within the book. We're gonna go check out the first tower. And I assume, Andrew, you'll let me know if there are any questions that I need to answer. As the gardener approached the tower, he noticed the knight standing guard at the entrance. Her sword stood buried in the ground before her, and she leaned on it lazily. Hark, gardener? You're not allowed to be here. I am required to ask you to go home peacefully. Oh, hey, don't worry about me. I'm just here to keep the vine growth under control. Oh, well, I don't see too many vines here. As you can see, I've been doing a very good job. The knight is not amused. Honestly, I don't care what you do. You just can't go through this door. No problem. I'll stay clear. Have a beautiful day. Whatever. So, this is the tutorial, just introducing to the mechanics. You press left and right, and as you can see, the whole game revolves around the tower. You don't actually move left and right. You are always circling the tower. The art style that you see here has been a very painstakingly difficult style to achieve, with 2D pixel art characters blending seamlessly into 3D pixelated background environments. You're seeing, I mean, obviously some of the main mechanics of a basic platformer, being able to jump and move around, but also holding down to bounce off of these springy magical leaves. And, goodness, sirens outside. The other, one of the other cool mechanics in the game is the ability to hold jump while falling to dig your shears into the wall and slow down your fall and create that little trail you saw. But that brings us to the very core of corest most mechanics in the game, which is cutting flowers to grow leaves and grow vines. By cutting that flower, I spawned 2 more vines and 2 more flowers, and now I can cut these 2 flowers, which will in turn spawn more vines and more flowers, kind of creating this like exponential growth of platforms and flowers to jump between, letting you freely just glide and fly and dash and slide all the way up to the top of the tower. What you may also notice is that as I cut flowers in quick succession, I'm building up a combo that speeds up the rate at which the vines grow, which is partially a speedrunning mechanic as well as a just a quality of life feeling of momentum that I wanted the game to have. Alright, I made it. No problem. Easy. Prince, are you there? Sigh. Guess the prince is another tower. Whoa, how did you get up there? how did you... Hang on, let me catch my breath. Did you really climb these vines to get up here? Well, you did say I wasn't allowed to go through the door. I'm supposed to arrest you, but I just don't have the energy to drag you all the way to the dungeon. Just make my job easier and leave these towers alone. I wish I could, but I need to find the prince. The magician is just going to make these towers more challenging if you keep this up. I like a good challenge. I'll see you again at the next tower. Ugh, fine. So every time that you beat a level in the story mode, you also unlock the challenge version of that. I can show you briefly what that is. So you can see you got a little notification on the challenges button over here, and you have unlocked Tower 1. So over here you can, you know, the core gameplay is designed to be kind of relaxed. I don't want to say casual, but not very punitive. A lot of platformers, I feel like, focus on trying to make the game as nail-bitingly difficult, and, you know, the precision platformer genre has kind of exploded recently, I think. And we wanted to try to make a game that's kind of in the opposite direction of that thematically, and less about that precision platforming design where every single pixel matters in terms of where you start jumping and where you land to make really, really tight jumps, and focus more on the kind of free-flowing, fun, silly, I don't know, a lot of other verbs, a lot of other emotives and adjectives to use. But if you do find that it's not challenging enough and you want a little bit more, that's when you can come to the challenges section, and you can try and compete to see if you're able to beat the level faster than the best time here, or to achieve a combo higher than the target goal. And these, as you'd imagine, get progressively more challenging the further you get down. But let's continue with the story. Trekked over to the second tower in the grasslands area. These little camera intro animations are inspired by Super Mario, the 3D Super Mario games, the way they sort of introduce you to every environment with these nice sweeping camera motions. Hey gardener, blah blah blah, go home peacefully. Is there anything I can say that will convince you not to climb this tower? How about let me get the door for you? Hilarious. Aren't you worried about hurting yourself? What could hurt more than being apart from the one you love? A 3-story fall would do it. Gotta go! We've written a decent amount of dialogue for this game to help tell this wholesome and sometimes snarky narrative about a gardener climbing magical towers to rescue the love of his life. So over here you may notice there is a bird in a cage. So this is actually something that isn't in the demo online, so this is an exclusive sneak peek at a mechanic that we haven't included in the demo. These are going to be hidden. This one's a very obvious one because it's the very first one that you find. But these are going to be hidden all throughout the game and be kind of like that collectible that you chase, where you want to try and get every single one of them in every single area that you could find them. So this is one of the levels where you see one, and there's no trick here. You just find it and you break it, and then boom, you rescued a lovebird. But as you'll see, and we encounter other ones, they will not be so easy to rescue. So here we are, climbing up, just getting that combo up as high as we can to maximize the speed at which we go, and then boom, we land. Phew, the night was right. Towers are getting taller. Alright. Here goes nothing. Prince, are you there? Wishful thinking, again. Did you reach the top? Yeah, hello down there. And did you find the prince? No. Sounds about right. Told you. She doesn't know what she's talking about. I'm going to find him. I have to tell him. Are you talking to me? I can barely hear you. I'm talking to myself. I'll see you at the next tower. Moving along to tower number 3. Now we have started introducing hazards into the game. You may have noticed previously every now and then when I stop moving that there are 3 hearts hovering over the gardener's head. Those are referring to the 3 hearts that you have before you have a game over and have to restart the level. Hey, no knight at this tower. I hope she hasn't gotten into trouble because of me. Too bad the door doesn't budge. Must be more of that magician's work the Midnight was telling me about. Okay, that's enough talking to myself. It's getting weird. Now, as we climb, we need to be smart. Make sure that we do not accidentally propel ourselves into any of these dangerous-looking orbs over here. Although I may be making avoiding them look very easy, it is a good bit harder when you don't know the map like the back of your hand, as I do for obvious reasons. But even if you do hit them, a lot of these levels are very gracefully peppered with heart pickups that you can find if you do accidentally hit something. Again, the focus of the core gameplay isn't to be brutally difficult or punishing by any means. It's to be just fun and focused on the flow-like feeling that the player can get into when you're cutting these. Honestly, I forget that I'm streaming and I need to be talking and providing commentary when I'm doing this sometimes, because I'm just kind of like mindlessly cutting flowers and flying up the tower. Which is one of my goals. I really wanted the game to feel that way. Wow, those magic orbs hurt. Alright, time to see what's behind door number 3. Prince, are you there? A silhouette, who is it? It's the knight. Boo. Oh hey, I was wondering where you were. Okay, you're really forcing my hand here. I have to arrest you. Aw, really? I didn't think you'd actually do that. You're seriously going to get me into trouble if I let you keep doing this. I would like to not lose my job if possible. Being a knight is all I know. You're not a knight. Excuse me? Knights exist only to protect the wealth and power of the royalty. They don't care about justice. You're not a knight. You believe in real justice. Who do you think you are? You don't get to tell me what I do and don't believe in. I do this because you're under arrest. I'm sorry to have upset you, but I can't let you do that. Before the knight could react, the gardener took a step backward and fell off the edge of the tower, landing softly on a leaf. As the gardener leapt from leaf to the ground, the knight stared into the horizon, her thoughts troubled by the gardener's words. Got any predictions? Have you seen the story before, Andrew?
I'll go ahead and talk on voice. I'm muting myself so I don't have that echo I was causing before. Okay. I think that, well, I was hoping that the knight would fall in love, but we'll see.
Uh-oh. The knight's here with someone else, though. Halt, gardener. Do you see him, soldier? Trespassing, clear as day. Verily, thou shalt see justice dealt swiftly for this heinous crime. Oh boy, here we go. Yeah, anyways, arrest him. Arrest? Why, have thou not heard? His Highness, the King, has decreed that we may execute lawbreakers should we see fit. What? Why would we kill people on sight? The peasants have grown ambitious and forgotten their rightful place in this world. Leniency has led to arrogance, which heralds rebellion. Would you like to execute this criminal, or shall I? A proper knight follows orders. What are you going to do? Stand down, soldier. We are not executioners. The king's word is law. Dost thou bite thy thumb at the law? Art thou but a common criminal in a knight's armor? I'm not a... You are... Ah! Oh wow, that looks painful. Run! I'll handle this. I've been talking over a lot of the dialogues. I don't know if people who are watching have been able to hear it or not, but there is, I don't know what to call it. It's obviously not voice acting in the game, but they're like little barks every single time that the characters say anything that kind of give them a little bit more personality. It's a poor man's voiceover, or voice acting. Oops. So now you have these windmills. I just realized I don't think you've seen that yet, so you have to land on their little platforms and they will carry you up across gaps in the tower. So you can see here there was a bird cage here, but I am 10 seconds too late. This bird cage has disappeared. So different bird cages have different mechanics related to them, and they will determine whether or not you're able to unlock them in time. So sometimes you'll have to go quickly, sometimes you'll have to solve a puzzle, but those are peppered throughout the game as little trinkets for you to find. I made it! I can't believe I got all the way up here. Okay, here we go. Prince, are you there? Well, that's disappointing. Just gotta keep on climbing. Always more towers to find. Ugh, finally managed to knock out the soldier. You seriously climbed the tower instead of running? Yeah, like I said, I'm trying to find the prince. Yeah, I know. Why are you so adamant about finding him anyways? Pretty sure that rebellion he started against his father is doing fine without him. Oh, I'm not rescuing him for the rebellion. I have a personal reason. Wait, are you... I love the prince. Ah. I have loved him for a very, very long time. I just never told him when I had the time. Oh. Well. Are you okay? Let's just go see about that tower over there, okay? Wait, you're coming with me? I'm just... Shut up. Let's go. Don't talk to me. Are we friends now? You're going to make me regret this. Andrew, you were not quite right. She does not fall in love with him, but she does begrudgingly become his friend.
Chat has already decided that love must win out.
Chat has what now?
Chat has decided that love must win out.
Love must win out. Love does win in the end. I'm gonna say, I mean, it's spoiler alert, but I want people to know. This game has a happy ending. Wait, why can't you open the door? It's locked. I guess the magician heard about what I did. You mean how you beat up the soldier? Yeah. And directly disobeyed orders from the king? Yes. And are now aiding and abetting a known fugitive of the law? Wait, what? Gotta go. Now we have introduced new mechanics here again. Buttons you have to activate other elements, like this windmill over here. It's something that we kind of try to do throughout the game, is keep it fresh with new mechanics being introduced as often as we can. Woo! Dodged. Again, I am effectively speed running this game because I only have one speed of playing a game that I have built myself, and that is very fast. That's the weirdest kind of magic I've seen yet. Magical power running through rope? So impractical. Anyways, Prince, are you there? I had a good feeling about this one. No luck, huh? On to the next tower. Seriously, how do you not give up? Could you give up on the ones you love? Never. On to the next tower. Also, I just pulled up the YouTube on the side here so I can help watch questions. I did notice WASD Productions asked, when do crabs get introduced? I know that Sean, the person who asked that question, very well knows exactly when crabs get introduced, but I will answer nonetheless. There are evil crabs in the island zone, which is the second zone of the game. Oh, I skipped that dialogue, whoops. Oh look, we made it. Finally. Okay, I'll tell you about my favorite types of trees later. Hint, it rhymes with choke. I wish I would choke. What? Nothing? Now we have... If I am careful and not careless and accidentally lose. Here we go. So now we have buttons with timers on them. Well. So I need to make sure that I jump onto the windmill before that timer runs out. Just want to see some crabs. We might not get to them today, sorry. Now, I'll show you a sneaky way to get to this button. If you're quick enough, you can jump over that line of orbs. But that one's only got 15 seconds, so you either need to jump back around this side, or you have to go all the way around the other way. But I'm good at the game, so I can go. The combo tracker. The combo tracker, basically it is enabled every single time that you hit 3 or more flowers in quick succession, and then after that point, the tracker continues to go down over time, and it goes down over time faster the higher your combo is. So, to maintain a high combo, you have to go fast. But thankfully, the flowers spawn faster the more you do it, so. Prince, are you there? Okay, I'm a little mad. The magician has got to be getting tired of making all these towers by now. I'll wear him down. He doesn't stand a chance. Then I'll find the prince, and I'll tell him that I long time I love him for. I mean that I always having love in him. I mean, I totally got this. Now, here we are at Tower 7. Now we got orbs all over the place, we got multiple windmills, multiple buttons, lots of things happening. The magician is running out of spaces to build these towers. There's a pretty good chance the prince is up there. Really? That's great! How does my hair look? Do you want me to be honest? You're right. He'll love me no matter what I look like. That is definitely not what I said. Are you okay? You haven't even started climbing yet, but you're already sweating. I might be a little nervous. Ugh, please just climb the tower. Alright, Knight. I'll get out of your hair. Now we have a different looking flower over here. I wonder what happens when I cut it. Guess we'll find out. I'm gonna hit this button. Have this turn on this windmill over here. Let's see what's up here. We've got another button. Uh-oh, and an orb that's sneaking around. And now we've turned on this other windmill. So we have a bird cage over there that's blue and says 1 out of 3. We attack this special looking flower over here, now it says 2 out of 3. So if we find one more of those flowers, like this one over here, maybe we can go back and ta-da! We have solved the puzzle to unlock this bird cage. Ooh, narrowly dodged that. Gonna have to hit this button over here. Whoops. Climb our way up. We got 4 seconds to make it onto this one before it disables. Now we make our way to the top. Oh, so close. One more time. There we go. So you may have also noticed along the bottom popping up every now and then, we have an achievement system as well. Obviously it's going to be hooked up with the, you know, Steam achievements and Xbox achievements when we eventually launch on other platforms. But it's also built into the game as well. We made it. Wow. Okay. The prince might be through this door, so just keep your cool. Don't be weird, just be real and honest. Got this, Gardener. Prince, are you there? There he is. Wow, I can't believe it. It's really you. Gardener, is that you? Were you just talking to yourself out there? Ha 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 ha, good one! Anyways, let me cut these ropes. Whoa, thanks, Gardener. No problem, Maroni. What did you just say? I came up here to say, I rescued you to say, not to suggest that you needed rescuing, you're very capable and strong. I mean, what I'm trying to say is, did you rescue me just to tell me I'm strong? I'm flattered. Prince, stop messing around and let me say this. Oh no, he's here. Gardener, get out of here before he sees you. What? No. From the king's court, put your hands together for... the villain. The magician. No, what did you do? When I heard a lowly gardener was climbing my cursed towers, I had to see for myself. It's true, you are just a gardener. What did you do to the prince? Let him go. Don't worry, he's not hurt. He's very much aware of what's going on. I want to make sure he sees the consequences of his insubordination firsthand. Why are you doing this? You performed at his birthday every year growing up. I am more than a birthday party entertainer. I am powerful. I am great. The greatest magician of all time. I will prove it to you. You don't have to prove anything. I will prove it to you. I will prove it to everyone. And that is the end of the the grasslands chapter of the game. Now this is not in the demo, I'm just going to go one more level past this to show what happens after that. But here you can see the island zone you're able to boat out onto. Being a birthday party magician is a grand accomplishment in itself, for sure. Ugh. Ow, how is everything moving? Oh hey, you're not dead. Everything hurts. Where are we? What happened? The magician blew up the tower, you fell. I caught you, we ran. Wait, what happened to the prince? The magician took him. I saw them fly this direction, towards the islands. Can't believe it. As if I didn't have enough to blame myself for. Hey, less blaming, more praising. I just saved your life. You're right, I'm sorry. I really appreciate you saving my life. You are welcome. If you hadn't been there, I probably would have died. Yeah, don't make it weird. Wait, where exactly are we going? That was narratively convenient. By the way, where did your helmet go? I lost it. Couldn't see clearly with it on anyway. And there you go. Less blaming, more praising. Yes. That is a brief preview of the story mode of the game. Here you can see we've unlocked all of the challenge levels for the for the game, basically. We've got, yeah, I don't know. That's that's the game. I don't know what
All
else,
right. Why don't you click on the credits, since that's the most important part of any game?
Yeah, sure. These are not particularly complete yet. We haven't gotten everyone's special thanks in here. Haven't done everyone's playtesters yet, but for those of you who have helped, we greatly appreciate it. As most people know, we are a very small team, myself being the only full-time person working on this project, and 3 other folks helping out when and where they can, but it takes a village.
Well, let's talk about your division of labor and how you split it out. Finite Reflections is yourself and Eric, correct? How have you handled this project?
It's myself, Eric, Zachary Woomer, and Garrett Stage. So I have been kind of like the lead game designer, lead narrative designer, and just generally creative lead on this project. Eric has been kind of like the development lead, focusing on making sure that the game is being developed in its code base and in its architecture efficiently and ideally for, you know, long-term development needs. He's also been almost entirely single-handedly handling porting this game. Although we haven't like explicitly confirmed these platforms yet, we are going to be going out onto consoles, as well as our planned September 9th launch on PC. But consoles will be coming at least a month later after our PC launch, so that we can just make sure we focus on a good, solid PC launch before we try mixing consoles into that mix.
And you're looking to have the consoles debut essentially simultaneously, so Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, same time? Excellent. And you've been developing this in Unity, correct?
Yep. This has been all in Unity, and I forgot to, I said Eric and I, but then forgot to mention Zach Woomer. He's been responsible for all the beautiful music and sound design that you've been hearing. And Garrett has been helping with a lot of our like marketing needs and our like website and some art that unfortunately isn't in the game right now, but you will see later.
And not just the crabs there. But you originally developed, the first game from Finite Reflection was Twin Cop, correct?
Technically, the first game, that was the first game we started developing, and that was the one that we really took to conferences. But prior to launching Twin Cop, technically we launched a game prior to that called Containment, which was a minimalist strategy game that was kind of like our test game, testing the waters of how to release on Steam, how to publish a game ourselves, which we then took learnings from and applied to Twin Cop. So technically speaking, in terms of games and the order in which they were released on Steam, it was Containment and then Twin Cop.
I have to admit, I kept expecting it become a co-op game with you and the knight, the gardener and the knight, together trying to rescue the prince, all being in love. But I guess not. Can you talk about some of the lessons you learned from Twin Cop and Containment and how they've affected Gardner?
Sure, yeah. Most of the lessons have been sort of on the development front. I mean, Containment being the very first game that we ever commercially released, we were honestly still learning just how to finish a game, how to take an idea, develop out a bunch of levels for it, make sure that it's bug-free, make sure that it's polished to a level that we feel comfortable putting out, and then, you know, going through and actually hitting that publish button on Steam and releasing it. Those were lessons we learned on Containment. Twin Cop was basically that, but bigger. We learned a lot about, you know, how to take that game to conferences and how to properly play test it. And we've been, you know, getting better at just the basics of how to complete a game with those two games. And I feel like now on this game, I've been able to start learning how to get better at some of the more secondary and tertiary elements of game development, like marketing and really just marketing. I've been learning a lot of marketing for this game and learning what does and doesn't market, what you do and what you should do to get the word out about your game. And yeah, it's been an interesting journey from Containment to here.
Well, let's actually explore some of that, because you're doing this in pandemic, as you note in the credits. So marketing's different, talking about going to shows. Playtesting was what I was mainly going to ask about, how you handle playtesting during pandemic. But now, let's talk a little bit about the marketing, because we've all been going online anyway, but we like going to events to push it and meeting people face to face. How much harder do you find it to market Gardner as opposed to Twin Cop, or is it so much easier because you have built up that online following?
Infinitely harder. I mean, granted, you know, like Twin Cop, I think, was a game that was, I don't want to say it was bound to do well in conferences, but it being a couch co-op game that was pretty easy to pick up and easy to play, was a game that, you know, if you were walking around the games aisles at a conference with your buddy and you saw this, you know, you wanted to sit down and play that co-op game with your friend. And then when you're playing with your friends, you tend to be loud and boisterous and having a good time, so that often attracted a crowd at conferences, which is great. And I think it gave us a bit of a false positive on what we thought marketing was going to be, and thinking it was going to be, oh, it's just easy, just make a fun game and people want to come and play it and then want to talk about it. But now that we are no longer doing this at conferences and everything being online, every bit of the marketing efforts has been just a challenge of persistence and consistence. Having to persistently what feels like yell from the rooftops about this game on Twitter, on Reddit, on Instagram, on Facebook, and and doing it consistently as well, on top of trying to just make the game myself, right? On top of just trying to finish all the content and write the story and do the art, having to always remember, like, hey, almost every single day, you know, have I posted somewhere on some social media platform to try and make sure that people know this game exists, and do everything we can to climb up the wish lists as much as we can. So it's been a lot more grueling from the marketing front. But if anything, I think this has been a much more useful marketing lesson to us than Twin Cop was, because, as I mentioned, it was a bit of a false positive that when we went to conferences, we felt like, oh wow, people gravitate towards us and this game and the booth. But as impressive of a game as it was, and as proud of the game as we are, we did not put that much marketing efforts into that game, and did not really learn marketing from that as much. So now, we got thrown into the deep end of the pool with the pandemic and having to just figure it out as we go.
Yeah, it's interesting you talk about it that way, because something I've been talking about with some marketing folk is that the noise has increased exponentially for online promotion during the pandemic, because everybody's having to focus online, and you're competing with everything that normally would have been in person, like Suicide Squad's out, but so many people are watching it at home. Same with basically every movie, TV show, etc. they normally would have gone out to. There's no event where you can do one-on-one. They're watching Suicide Squad, they're looking what you're doing in the game, and they're on their phone, and they've got a stream going, and they've got their music going, etc., etc. It's so hard to break through that and be noticed. Anything you have done that you think is working effectively at that?
It's hard to say what has been most effective or not. I think that the one thing that has felt like a good use of my time has just been, again, persistence and consistency. Continually trying to put myself out there and put the game out there and put the studio out there on as many fronts as possible. Like I mentioned, we're posting regularly on Twitter, on Instagram. I'm streaming game development on Twitch regularly as well. Anywhere and everywhere that we can yell about this, we have been. So I think recognizing the fact that as an indie, there's only so much that you can do, especially as an indie with no publishers and no funding. We're doing this entirely, out of our back pockets. Trying to build from the ground up means you have to just do a ton of grunt work and do a ton of repetitive grunt work in the hopes that the volume of stuff you're putting out there kind of gets through to people.
Excellent. All right, well, let's talk more about the dev process and parts of that. So playtesting. I want to talk about that because you have an elite team of playtesters listed there. But pre-pandemic, you'd have done a bunch of live playtests as well and had a ton of folks come up. You could watch them play as well as get their feedback. How has that gone for you? Because your previous games, you did a lot of testing in public as well as with select QA experts.
Yeah, I think it's been a bit of an adaptation, but I feel like that has been less of a pain point, both thanks to just the wonderful friends that we have that are so willing to help at the drop of a hat, honestly. And because I found that just, again, those same friends, when I say, hey, do you mind playtesting this for me, are willing to either jump onto a call and let me watch them play it, or are willing to record themselves play it, and sometimes even with a face camera. Because to me, that's the most important thing, is watching players' faces while they play something. And that's something that we obviously can't do at as we used to at conferences and meetups, but that transition to online, compared to some of the other things that we've been having to adapt to, have been not as frustrating as I thought they would be. Very quick and simple solution to that one, just reaching out to good friends and asking that they play your game with their face showing.
Excellent. Yeah, always in favor of live stream tests and getting to see folks do it however you can. So you got a base mechanic. I mean, it's a fun adaptation of the platform where you got the cutting and growing your own platform essentially. A lot of fun. But then you start adding some of the more, I guess, less game critical, but really make you push for it, like the birdcage mechanic. I just love the idea that there's now such a thing as a birdcage mechanic in games. But when you start developing these, how do you decide how extensive to make that, how impactful to make it on the game, how much time you want players to vote? Is it just going to be for those folks who want something extra, or do you want every player who gets into the game to try getting the bird cage bonus, freeing the lover bird?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's been one of the interesting challenges of this game in particular has been that, I think I mentioned earlier, we're not really marketing to the same kind of audience that a lot of platformers that are being made recently tend to market towards. I feel like I've been seeing a growing trend in the platforming genre to focus more on the, like, tough as nails, really, really challenging platformers. Like, Celeste is a great, incredibly developed, beautiful game, and I love it as a platformer. But I think that a lot of games have been trying to follow in its footsteps and create games that try to match its level of difficulty and its level of precision required to excel at it. And I think that there's a space for games like that, but not as many games that are designed to be just a fun and, I don't want to say relaxed because the game isn't relaxing all the time, but by comparison, most definitely a relaxing platforming game. It definitely doesn't feel like something that I see a whole lot of people trying to make, or an audience that I feel like is maybe being underserved. So that was kind of like a bit of our starting point in the way that the game controls. And then going from there, I wanted to try and do what I could to widen the reach of the game where I can, without making it impossible for that casual player to get through the game. So that's why things like the birdcage mechanic and the challenge mechanic, where you have, you can get 3 stars on each level, those are presented as kind of secondary objectives, things that you are not required to do. If you're here for the story and you're here for a cute and wholesome adventure through this fun narrative, then you are free to go through with that with not a significant amount of challenge in your way. But creating those other elements are there in hopes that players who are here only for the challenge and want things to be as hard as they can make it, then there's still something of value for them as well.
All right, well, let's talk about the game progression for those players then. We've only saw basically the demo, and you did it very well for a demo. You learn a mechanic, then you get another level where you master that mechanic, and when you've mastered it, then it's time for the next mechanic. Learn that, master it, and on through that. Now, you've obviously got a significant number more levels to go. How well are you going to keep that up to entertain that more casual platformer, and we hope also pull in the speedrunners?
It's just a matter of always having something new. The newness of every mechanic as you get deeper in the game is kind of like a very linear growth of basically every other level. You find something that was not there in the previous level, or does something weird to something you may have seen in a previous level. Because in the island zone, you have these coconuts that you can pick up and place on seesaws that you can then jump on to sort of propel yourself in the air. There are crabs that you have to avoid that will try and chase you down. And all of these mechanics, interact with the level design in interesting ways and force you to reconsider your ascent and consider how you want to climb the towers more carefully. From there, you go to the mountain zone, where you have even more mechanics that continue to impede your traversal, like wind tunnels that will push you in different directions, and portals that can teleport you from location to location. So, all these mechanics kind of start to compound over time, but the way that a lot of them are implemented is designed in such a way that if you take your time and you're cautious and you don't really care about going super fast, they are all not terribly difficult to overcome. But if you do try to go fast, then you have to be a lot more precise, and you have to have much faster reflexes to react to things, and that's where we try to sort of design that space of. We imagine that a more casual, less experienced platformer player will not be going super fast, which means that the game is kind of naturally balanced based on how hard you want to play the game. If you want to play hard and fast, you're going to have a more challenging time, and it's going to feel rewarding to overcome those challenges. But if you are not as skilled and you're a little bit more scared of how quickly things are moving, you can slow down, and the game doesn't penalize you for that.
Yeah, I love the idea of creating your own platform. And the combos certainly add an interesting dimension to that. All right, so we hear that we've got the crabs coming out. There you go, WASD Productions. You're warning about those. For all the Monty Python fans, there are going to be coconuts as well. And who knows what the magician's going to bring in the end to make it a real mess. So looking for a September 9th PC launch on Steam. Is it just going to be Steam?
Steam and itch.io.
And itch at the same time?
On September 9th, yeah.
All right, and look for console. It looks like it could be
more or less the following month.
Right. It looks like it could be mobile. That'd be an interesting change in the interface. Any thoughts about that?
We will see. We've seen that before. We've heard that before, especially on account of the fact that the game is very vertical. It will just depend on how our initial launch and then our console launch goes, if we feel like it is worth it to keep releasing on other platforms or not. So we do have many other ideas. I mean, we've participated in multiple game jams since the jam that created this one, and have other games that we have players actively asking when we're going to do more work on. So trying to balance our time as wisely as we can.
All right, very nice. And the demo is up. We've shared the Steam link. We'll share it some more. If you are in chat right now, jump on into the GGDA Discord channel. We've kept Kartik here a bit longer than we planned. I told him a half hour. We're now closing in on an hour. Also remember that we are still planning to have our next GGDA meeting in person at Kennesaw State University's Marietta campus. We'll share the location. As long as pandemic doesn't cancel us, we'll be nicely socially distanced there. Still got to figure out how we do pizza for everyone during the pandemic, but we'll make it work. And we'll have the Siege College Fair October 14th, Investment Conference December 3rd. You can start applying for that now. And thanks to everyone who joined. Go to the GGDA Discord voice channel to ask Kartik about crustaceans, WASD. Take care, everybody. We will see you soon.